Hey, New Life Church, Cory, Cangelosi here with my wife Tanner, and I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about family discipleship. I'm really proud of you for joining us on this Devo, but as we get into this family series as a church, we've been married 15 years, we have 6 kids, and man,
Who wants to babysit?
This is something that is near and dear to our hearts. We were in children's ministry for many years before stepping into this role.
God preparing us.
Yes. So we have our own children's ministry in the living room. So we love talking about family discipleship and just want to kind of give you a foundation as we're getting this series kicked off about family, and want to give you a few points and some practical applications. And let me read to you a passage out of Deuteronomy 6. It's one of my favorites when it comes to family discipleship. And I want to read this, but I want you to think about it in the context of the Great Commission, because the Great Commission says, "Go therefore, make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey all I've commanded you." And that's what every believer is called to do, is make disciples. And so in Deuteronomy, though, we see kind of the how. How do we do that? How do we make disciples in our family? And he lays it out, God does in Deuteronomy 6. And this is what he tells us. The first thing I want you to see when it comes to family discipleship is the importance of modeling. So if you're taking notes, write that down. We've got to model it first. I can't lead anybody anywhere that I haven't been. And even if I'm just one step in front of them, whatever I'm trying to teach my kids, they've got to see it in my life first, in mom's life, in our marriage.
Cory's so good at this, like every day being in his Bible, and I've even seen in our 12-year-old and our 10-year-old and our 9-year-old wanting to do what he's doing, being in their Bible, writing in their own journal. And I think he is so passionate about family discipleship that it just oozes out of him, and so he does it great. Something he also does is he puts his phone down and makes an intentional effort to be all there wherever he is, modeling.
Yes, so the first thing that we read in Deuteronomy 6:4, this is the Shema. It's a really important passage in Jewish history and culture. And to Jesus, he actually quoted this passage in the Gospels. It says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one." Verse 5, "You shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all your soul, and all your might. These words which I'm commanding you today shall be on your hearts." In other words, and he's about to tell us to impart this to our children, but first he says, look, you've got to get this on your heart. It's the whole adage of more is caught than taught, right? And that if I'm trying to teach my kids something that I'm not living out, I'm a hypocrite, and they're not going to receive it. And so whatever we desire to see in our kids, we've got to lead them there first by modeling that, God's commands, a love for God, walking out that love. That relationship's got to be in us, got to be in our marriage. Maybe you're a single mom, a single dad. Let them see you. Maybe you're a step parent or a grandparent or aunt, uncle, somebody who's fostering kids, or maybe you just have spiritual kids who, young ladies you're leading, or young men that you're leading in children's ministry, wherever. First, if we're going to make disciples, if we're going to influence somebody, it's got to be in our heart. Here's the second thing. So it's modeling, number one, but number two is moments. And God lays out in Deuteronomy these intentional moments that we can have.
Moments.
Yeah, with our kids. And what's brilliant about this passage, he doesn't add anything to our schedule. Because raise your hand if your schedule's full, if you got a lot going on, if you're shuffling 6 kids to practices and recitals and all the things, right? And then you got work on top of that, and try to have a date night every week or however often you can. And so God knows that we have a life and we have work and we have those things, but notice what he says, what moments to take advantage of. He says, "You shall teach them diligently to your sons and daughters." In other words, teach a love for God, teach that to your kids. That's encouraging me right there, because that lets me know that we can teach our kids how to love God. The Holy Spirit ignites that and ignites their heart to do it, but we can teach them how, because God tells us to do that. Teach them diligently to your sons and daughters. And then he says 4 things. Talk of them when you sit in your house. Talk of them when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Listen, those are 4 moments that each one of us has every day of our life with our kids. But like Tanner said, it starts by putting our phone down, by zoning in, put down the ESPN app, turn off the TV, unplug.
In private, in public, And then, you know, when we're going somewhere, even just in the car, making those, like, look at that sunset. Who made that? God made that. And like singing songs together, I think those are ways we're already together, we're already doing it, we're putting the kids to bed, we're doing devos in the morning, but making that routine, making that intentional choice to be all there.
Yeah, those 4 areas, when you sit at the house having dinner, sitting in the living room, make that intentional, open God's word, sing a song, pray together. When you walk by the way, we all travel, we all are in the car, you know, all day, every day, different places. Making those times, those moments in the car, times where you can pour into your kids, talk about the Lord, and then going to bed, getting up. Those are awesome times as well. And then the last thing that I want to encourage you with as you think about family discipleship, and these are kind of broad strokes, remember, but it's milestones. So you've got, first of all, modeling, moments, and then milestones. You know, milestones are huge. These are major places in a kid's life where you can really speak identity into them. You can speak who they are and affirm how God's made them and what you're believing for them, speaking blessings over them, really speaking to their future and calling things out of them. And so whether it's like a Sweet 16 or when you get baptized and put your faith in Christ, taking advantage of those times. We do baby dedications, one of the first milestones a family has when they dedicate themselves to raising a child in the Lord. One of my favorite things we do as a church. But it's those moments that happen once in a lifetime where you can gather other people around, speak life, help them transition from one stage of life into another. You give them permission to leave one stage and go into another with added responsibility, added identity, and just all throughout the Word you see that there's these different times wired into the culture that God created for His people, the Israelites,
To
these
speak
milestones.
into their next season.
Right, teaching them who God is and who they are.
We just did that with Suzu, our oldest, who turned 12, and we took her just on a date, just her and the 2 of us. We got a sitter for the other 5 kids, but went and picked out a ring for her, and just to speak into this next season that she's about to walk into middle school, junior high, and the things that we see in her that are great things.
That's right. So when you can take advantage of these, it's like a rite of passage for kids at different stages, and it just helps affirm who they are and help them move forward in the Lord as a son or as a daughter. And so listen, New Life, stay tuned. We're going to be diving into more and more truths about the family, about marriage, parenting, relationships. It's going to be a great time together. We love you guys, and we're praying for you. God bless.
Have a great day.